Hey, what's up guys? John here. Many people don't know what's really going on in Texas, and that's what we're going to cover in this video. A lot of people think it's a power grid issue or possibly a water situation or food shortages, a variety of different opinions. But one of the biggest problems that many people don't realize that's happening right now is this. My savings is gone, said Scott Willoughby, a 63-year-old veteran and gritty customer who was reportedly charged $16,752. Willoughby told the Times he nearly drained his savings to pay the bill. He's talking about his utility bill. $16,752 for a utility bill during this whole crisis. But this is nothing compared to what's coming. I believe we're going to see a massive crash. Both real estate, the economy, everything is going to fall apart in Texas. And I think 2020 was really just a warm up for what's to come. So please smash that like button. Let's expose what's really happening. Every time you hit the like button, YouTube shares the content. The more people that see it, the more people become aware of what's really happening, and hopefully more people wake up. So please smash that like button. Let's begin. Gritty is the utility company in Texas with over 29,000 customers. You know, I don't feel like I've used $6,700 of electricity in the last decade, DeAndre Upshaw, Gritty customer whose utility bill exceeded $6,700 as a result of the winter event, told the New York Times that's not a cost any reasonable person would have to pay for 5 days of intermittent electric service being used at a bare minimum. $6,700. That's a used car. That's many people's emergency fund wiped away with 5 days of utility bills. And you take that and you spread it out across the state, you're going to see a major economic impact. But this isn't the real problem that I see happening with Texas. So what we see right now in the news is that the economy is great, the stock market's great, eviction moratoriums are extended. Everyone has a positive outlook, except for me. I guess I'm the only one that looks at the job numbers, that looks at how many people are behind on their mortgage payments, and really understands that things are not going to be going back to normal as they once were tomorrow, as they were in the past. It's just not going to happen. Many people are going to lose their jobs. Industries are changing right now. Consumer confidence in how they spend money, their habits are changing. This is going to greatly impact mom and pop business. This article that I read on NBC News Dallas-Fort Worth, a real estate attorney, her name is Rachel Kirla, a North Texas real estate attorney, says to expect as many as 200,000 foreclosures. 200,000 foreclosures. It sounds like a lot, and it is, especially with a population of 29 million in Texas. But we have to take into consideration, what about all these multi-unit landlords that own many units, and they did what's called a cash out refinance. They basically bought a property and leveraged it to 80% of its value and kept buying more and more and more properties. And their game plan really was to cash flow just a little bit across each building, and ultimately the buildings would be paid off and they'd have a great nest egg and a great real estate portfolio that they could pass along from one generation to the next. This strategy worked for many decades flawlessly, but who could anticipate a $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 utility bill? Imagine having those high bills across all of your buildings and you're on the hook to pay the utilities. And to make matters even worse, the winter freeze damage expected to hit $18 billion from burst pipes and collapsed roofs throughout Texas. $18 billion. So it's one expense after the other. And then on top of that, Texas is the #1 state for uninsured. 29% of adults don't have health insurance. 623,000 children don't have health insurance. So what is going to come next? If you have an emergency, you're going to take care of your child. You're going to take care of yourself before you take care of a property or a possession. Health comes first. So many people are sick. Many people are in deep despair due to what's happening right now in Texas. But I just have this feeling that there's going to be something so much worse. If we look at what happened with the Keystone Pipeline and the tens of thousands of jobs gone in a snap of a finger, and then we look at how big Texas is and how big their economy is supported around oil and energy, there could be a very big collapse coming very soon that many people are not anticipating. According to the Washington Post, Joe Biden wants to transition away from fossil fuels, energy, and gas. And that makes quite a lot of sense given what's happened with the Keystone Pipeline. But now, if we look at a place like Texas, where 35% of the entire economy is supported by those industries, you have to ask yourself, how are they going to maintain ownership of their properties? How are they going to make good on their bills, repair their properties, or pay these new electric and utility bills? That is a billion-dollar question. Now, according to this, 35% oil and gas is the state economy, making Texas Railroad Commission budget an important priority. She said Texas oil and gas producers have suffered a double blow due to what's happening and the global price shock amid an era when the industry is facing a process of structural contraction. And nearly half of the state of Texas is in a water crisis right now. So reduced water pressures due to pump failures and increased demand from burst pipes, millions of people dripping their faucets for days on end, is the root of the problem for many people in these infrastructure problems. Reduced water pressure can lead to harmful bacteria growing in the water. Other times, power outages have prevented treatment centers from properly treating water. Now, Bill Gates, he seems to be on the cover of every single magazine, on every broadcast, on every television channel, giving his advice and guidance on what we should be doing. And then coincidentally, our politicians and governors always follow his lead and we're forced into the direction that he points. So what is he saying right now about what's happening in Texas? It's really important because I think what he says in Texas is going to follow throughout the entire country. Now he says, Bill Gates' weatherized energy plants could have prevented deaths in Texas winter freeze. In a Saturday evening interview with CNN's Anderson Cooper, the billionaire philanthropist argued that natural gas plants in Texas have not been built to withstand extreme weather, leading to millions of people across the state losing power and battling freezing temperatures. Gates went on to say that climate change could be considered the main cause of extreme weather events, adding that an increased reliance on renewable energy could prevent future disasters similar to the winter storm. It is ironic to blame renewables and not realize that we're going to have to be dealing with this unless we get the whole world to reduce emissions. So as we're being slowly led down this path of renewables, of changing our usage, to changing what we eat, we're changing everything that's happening, and it's all being done under this new guideline for climate change. I believe we're going to be stepping into a massive transfer of wealth, the biggest transfer of wealth in human history. In essence, what's happening in Texas likely will be the first domino to fall. But many people don't want to see what's really happening. They just want to think that everything is great and everything's going to return to normal. But the smart investors, I mean the really, really smart people, are looking at things logically and realizing that economies don't work unless we do. It's over a year now since people have really worked at a normal rate. So what does this mean? It means as we change from potentially our power grid and the way that we consume energy, the way that business is conducted, the way people manage their debts that they've accumulated over this pandemic, it's going to result in likely an affordability crisis where people need to downsize and reduce the luxuries in their life. That's what we're going to likely see. From 2021 and beyond, I think we're going to see the disappearance of the middle class, if I'm just being honest. I think it's going to be the elites, the real haves, and then the have-nots, kind of like what we see in India. That is what I think is going to happen to America. But what smart people are doing right now is they're saving money, they're gaining an education, they're coming out with a really good plan to figure out how they can protect and provide for themselves and their family going forward, and not under any circumstances be dependent on someone else's decision to put food on your table. But this is what it really comes down to, is being real honest with yourself and looking at things logically and really asking yourself, does all this make sense? Are we really going to go back to normal and the economy is going to just continue on at this current rate? I personally don't think so. That's why I'm studying, reading, and learning nearly every minute of every day, just getting ready for what I think is going to be the greatest opportunity to invest in real estate, in assets that we've ever seen. So thanks so much for watching. Please smash that like button, help share this content. The more people that see it, the more people that become awake and aware, and really I think just the better for all of us. And consider subscribing for more content based around real estate, personal finance, business, and money. And if you'd like to get to know me on my weekly calls, look at the top comment below. and I will pin my website where you can join. I do weekly calls every single Thursday on Zoom, and it's a great place for us to network, get to know one another, and we can discuss our investing strategies going forward. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video.